Welcome back, everyone, to ProcureTech Wonder. I am Amanda Prochaska, your host, and we are here to talk about all of the cool tech in procurement. There's a ton of it out there, but today we're super excited because we're going to be learning about Vroozi, a procure-to-pay solution. And I am super excited to go through this very easy to implement solution with you today. So let's get started. My guests today are Shaz Khan and Mike Jud. Welcome to you both today. Thank you so much for being here. And just for you guys to know how this is going to work today, we are going to go through 15 minutes of rapid fire questions. So Shaz, you're in the hot seat today on those rapid fire questions. We will be keeping a timer. We want to keep it short and sweet and to the point for everyone that's watching today. And then we're going to hand it over to Mike Jud to do the demo. He also gets 15 minutes to walk through that. And then at the end, I'm going to share my perspective on what I like about Vroozi and what I don't quite yet like about Vroozi. And yet is a critical word because everything is changing in this world. And I cannot wait to see where Vroozi is going from here. So Shaz, you ready to get started?
I am excited. Thank you, Amanda. My name is Shaz Khan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Vroozi, and I'm based in Los Angeles.
Let's go ahead and dive right into that rapid fire. I am starting my timer right now, so we stay on track. Here we go. Okay, so easy one for you, Shaz. What does Vroozi do?
Vroozi is an intelligent procure-to-pay platform and marketplace that is designed for the modern workforce.
Ooh, I like that. Short and sweet. Oh, we asked for that, didn't we? Great answer. Why is Vroozi better than your competition?
Well, I think with Vroozi, one of the things that we saw in the market when we started the company is that employees were increasingly working on outdated and antiquated applications and screens, what we call green screens or Windows 95 effects. And one of the major items for us was to focus on user experience. And so when you look at Vroozi, it is an end-to-end suite that follows the principle of 3 M's and 3 I's. And so I can kind of walk through the M's. We're modern, mobile, and modular. So you can actually get a modern system with mobile-first capabilities and implement modular capabilities into your existing tech stack without disrupting. And then we follow 3 I's, which is intelligent, intuitive, and integrated. So with the rise of AI, there's a lot more capabilities where you can bring in artificial intelligence, machine learning to automate some of these transactions in a manner where you can just plug in seamlessly into your ERP platforms, again, without disruption. And so when you look at Vroozi, Vroozi really separates itself from the competition by being maniacal on user experience, but also having those strong capabilities to allow companies to configure their platform, not necessarily customize.
Love it. And I from talking to you so often, I always love how you have acronyms for everything. So the 3 M's and the 3 I's. So with that said, now that we know how you're better than your competition, who is your target market that you're typically selling to?
It's a great question. You know, when we started Vroozi, we were very focused on the enterprise, what we classify as Fortune 1000 companies, companies that have procurement functions, IT functions pretty well baked out, but still are looking for high-end user adoption on procurement applications. That ideal customer profile has not changed. Enterprise continues to be a very, very attractive segment for Vroozi and fits very well within the ecosystem of some of these customers. I would say a new area for us that's equally as exciting is what we classify as mid-market. In mid-market, we would say companies in the 150 million to 1.5 billion revenue range that really are still trying to modernize their tech stack and their infrastructure, but have never had a fair shake at it because it requires an army of people to put it in. With the advent of SaaS and all these different types of applications, you can plug and play best of breed systems into your existing ERP platforms, whether it's a NetSuite, Sage, Dynamics, all the way up to SAP Oracle, and still maintain that capability where you're meeting your business goals of 100% spend under management, digital payments, and fast invoice processing.
We hear all the time from your clients that you guys are super easy to deploy. And I think that goes right into what you were just mentioning. So great to understand your target market. So the next question that we often get about tech solutions is, how the heck do you price Vroozi? Like, what, we don't need a price today, but like, how do you go about pricing it?
Well, pricing wise, for us, we're very transparent. We want companies to win and get a fast ROI. And with that, our model focuses on a pure subscription that is typically outlined under a 36-month term with renewal terms around it. Along with that subscription to the platform, there's a one-time professional services fee. And one of the growth areas for Vroozi is to really work and look at partners to help Vroozi get implemented in all these different customers. Because for us as a company, we want to be focused on building the best global B2B commerce platform in the world. And for that, I don't want to take my eyes off of just putting all the energy in the services to implement. And so I think one of the major areas that we're going to be investing in is, how do we find those complementary partners to help on the services side put in Vroozi?
Well, and for transparency purposes, I think we should probably mention that Wonder Services is looking forward to the partnership with Vroozi and maybe being one of those implementation partners that helps you. So
we would be delighted. We would be absolutely delighted.
We're looking forward to that. All right. So the next question for you, and you, by the way, you're doing fantastic on time. We have about 9 minutes and 30 seconds left. So the next thing is, what should we be excited about when it comes to Vroozi's future? Like, what's your roadmap? What's your vision for Vroozi?
Well, we've actually centered around a very strong, let's say, northern light for us in terms of our product roadmap and innovation. And that all stems around this acronym called COIN. COIN stands for collaboration, orchestration, integration, and neural. Every aspect of our platform should have one or multiple components of that acronym embedded in the feature set or roadmap. So for example, being able to intelligently ingest an invoice document and process it without any human involvement is one example. Another example is being able to take a request from an employee, whether it's a laptop, whether it's an office supply, whether it's a catering service needed for a corporate event, and being able to orchestrate that function all the way through to payment. When we talk about transactional interfaces, these are very important, and they were the bread and butter and are the bread and butter of Vroozi. But there are also multiple ingest points where we can automate, and procurement and AP and Office of CFO is ripe for that automation and digital landscape. And that's where we feel we can make a huge difference, is taking those functions that take a lot of time and individual power to basically process, automate that. Have those folks re-strategize, refocus their energies in more strategic functions, like, for example, supplier collaboration. Why not collaborate with suppliers in a more deeper fashion so that you can work on products that can come out to market? Look at sustainability initiatives. Look at other areas of the business that need time and attention, but are not necessarily being given that based on other priorities.
Mm-hmm. I love, and again, another great acronym, COIN. So it's very easy to remember as we're moving forward. Now, did we get to the N? I want to make sure. Did you get to the N part of it?
N is neural, right?
Okay.
And so for us, neural is about being able to plug in to networks where we can learn from those networks and apply that knowledge back into the platform. And again, seamless to the customer. For example, in the old days, you would have, in old days, I'm talking 20 years ago, you would have to train software to learn how to read an invoice. Now, if you imagine a supplier sending an invoice, there's thousands of different templates.
Yeah, there's still technology out there right now that you still have to do that with, by the way. Not 20 years ago, it's still present.
It's still present. And I always
Yes.
joke the largest ERP system on the planet is Excel, right? And so those two forces are combining. Now, what is neural? Neural is the ability to actually ingest documents and go into a neural network of tens of thousands of like documents, learn from that document and apply that knowledge back into the document so that you can extract data intelligently. And again, when you look at what a lot of these major providers are doing and bringing out, this is now becoming more of a commodity. But how do you leverage that commodity to benefit the business process? That's where Vroozi separates itself.
Awesome.
We're intelligently orchestrating and integrating those processes into the platform.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so talking about your success, can you share a brief success story from one of your clients so we can understand the value that you're bringing?
Absolutely. So we have a very large customer in aerospace and defense. And we've been with that customer for over 10 years. We have taken one singular marketplace where we've loaded millions of SKUs that are contracted pricing items and services. And we've been able to integrate that one marketplace, that digital suitcase of your contracted pricing with your suppliers, into multiple ERP platforms. And again, for those big companies, this is very critical. When you go and look at an acquisition strategy or companies that are inheriting additional companies and business units and ERP systems, it's very hard to onboard employees into a new platform. Imagine having one platform where you just turn on the users once you make that acquisition or turn on a new ERP system. And so one of the success stories we've had is that we've been able to bring 40% spend, increased spend under management. And we've had end user adoption increase by 90%. So what does that do? That removes that gap where people go away from the marketplace and buy on their own and then submit an expense report if you're lucky. Right. So yeah, that's a really great success story. And we're looking really forward to what we're going to be doing in the future to even automate that even further.
Yeah, I love that. Procurement people spend so much time negotiating prices and then people go off and do their own thing and those prices don't get leveraged. And it's like, this is the vicious cycle that we're in, especially when they go on and use a corporate card. So last question for you, and we still have 3 minutes left, 3.5 minutes, give or take, is what's the most common mistake that you see leaders do when they're deploying Vroozi or after deployment of Vroozi? Can you give us a lesson learned or a best practice that we could glean from your experience?
Well, for us, I'll take that in two components. I'll say, the area that we kind of focus on after the customer goes live. With software as a service, we actually release quite heavily in the platform on a yearly basis. And what I mean by that is that we have multiple releases of added features and functionality that clients can take advantage of, which can be also overwhelming for a customer because of the rapid pace of innovation that they're able to take advantage of. And so one of the areas that we have to always keep an eye on is that pace of delivery versus a client's expectation of what they can endorse and adopt.
Yeah.
And that's where customer success comes into play, led by Mike Jud on our team here. We have to be able to balance the ability to release all these powerful features and capabilities with also the ability for those customers to adopt and bring that into their ecosystem, because change is hard. No matter what, change management will always be a critical component of any type of software rollout or release. Okay, that's one area. The area that I would say on the customer side is to be relevant and resilient, always and forever. Meaning that when you invest in software, you should also invest in the partners that are building that software out and delivering and innovating for you. And so being present, trying to carve out time where you can stay on software advisory boards for the customers or the vendors that you select to implement, partnering more closer with those for newer innovation cycles. And that takes a little bit of a village also, and a mentality that you're just not a software vendor that I'm paying you. I want to collaborate with you a lot closer to get even better results. And so I wouldn't necessarily classify as mistakes. I would classify those as items to always keep in the front when you're looking at the actual market and the vendors that you're putting into your ecosystem.
Ooh, and we see it all the time. Being change management professionals ourselves, and what we mostly focus on in Wonder Services, we see that often post implementation, like keeping up with the innovation, making sure you understand it and can apply it, and then partnering, particularly around solutioning for your ongoing business needs is very important. Shaz, thank you so much for the rapid fire questions. If you are liking this video, please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe, because we are going to be providing you so many different stories like today. Procurement tech, cool procurement tech that's out there, so you can understand the landscape more effectively, because man, there's just so much amazing tech out there that you could be using in procurement. So with that said, Shaz, thank you very much. I'm going to hand it over to Mike Jud. Mike, you are on deck now to do a 15-minute demo, so people can not only understand what Shaz said around the value proposition of Vroozi, but see it for themselves. So I am going to just hand it over to you, and you can start the demo.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank
guys
you.
both gave me some great points to talk about. Although Shaz needs no introduction, I'll start with my introduction while I switch my screen here. So my name is Mike Jud. I'm Senior Director of Customer Success for Vroozi. I got that title because I'm able to help customers after being in the space for so long. About 23 years working with some fantastic companies, getting them better off in procure to pay, so procurement and invoicing. So looking forward here to showing you all that experience and knowledge coming to life, and how customers are using Vroozi. What I'm going to do for you today, I'm going to go through a full procure to pay process for you. I'm going to do that in 4 tabs of my browser. Why I do that is because I have 4 roles that I've identified throughout the procure to pay process, and what we want to do is connect them digitally. So just real quickly here, we're going to start with an employee who needs to get their stuff. And I use that really literally, because we hear that often. Employees say, I just want my stuff. I don't want to deal with processes, procedures, and reading the SOP documents. I just want to get my stuff. So we'll talk about that when we come back. My next step is going to be an approver. And with that, we're going to go to my Gmail inbox, because if we can make this super fast for an approver to make their decision, give them the information, they decide quickly, we're going to get orders out very rapidly. And then I'm going to talk here about keeping suppliers connected. So we'll use a Vroozi supplier portal for that. But the real main theme is we want to keep the fingers off the keyboard. So the more that we can exchange data with our suppliers, be integrated to them. Shaz mentioned Coin. One of those components is being connected and orchestrated. So I want to show you some great things when a supplier is connected. And then last but not least, of course, accounts payable. They're the ones that are in charge of making sure everything's correct, that we pay suppliers no more, no less than what they've delivered. The problem for them right now is that, or this is where we see the problem, because they're the last stop in the process. What happens is, if things don't go right before them, they're kind of in that seat where they have to fix things up. So they chase down people, they're looking for approvals, what do I do with this? So we're going to show you when we come back to them after I get started with the employee again. When we come back to AP, things are going to be straight through and automatic for them. So some wonderful outcomes when we get there. Okay. Back to our employee who wants their stuff. Amanda made a great comment before, Purchasing puts in a lot of work to get the suppliers together, the right supplier, to get the pricing and put those into a contract. So we certainly want people to follow those. We do that through a system, a P2P system in general. Vroozi makes it nice and easy. So now users are willing to adopt that system because it is super easy for them to get their stuff. So for the employee, when they log in, it looks just like this. There's no training involved because they pretty much know what to do from here. Open screen at the top, I think they know that we're looking for a search. And at the top right, a shopping cart says, I think I'm going to draw on my online shopping skills to make this happen. So if an employee needs something like gloves, what we've done ahead of time is we've set up those supplier relationships, our preferred, approved, and contracted suppliers. We set that up as catalog content. So when I'm selecting from these products here, I'm selecting from suppliers that we've organized as our approved and preferred and contracted suppliers. We've also gone a step further here. If you notice, there's some attributes on the supplier level and us at the product level. This is going to help guide users towards some of our program, diversity spend, sustainability, preferred options, if you have those. So we're going to allow them to filter on some of those options there so they can help us out on some of those objectives if that's the case. So if they need 10 gloves here, add to cart. We further not only the gloves that I need, but also the diversity in that case. Okay. I also want to show you something with some parts like a specification. We have a construction company, for example, needs an exact part, needs an exact piece of equipment. So for them, what they do is they use some of the attributes to get to what they need. Again, familiar territory for most users. They're selecting some attributes. Maybe that's important to them. The number of batteries is important to them, and that gets down pretty quickly to something they need. Okay, so if they need to bring 5 of those in for a job, they'll add that to the cart as well. And we, again, start bringing that, all the stuff that we need together. Last but not least, I do like to talk about services because this is the one that always tricks an end user. Okay, because what we do is we ask them to set that up for a process. We throw terms out like discrete POs and limit orders, framework orders, invoice against contract. And all those might apply in a single organization, but for different spend categories, the process could be different. Okay, so we tell the user, don't worry about it, use your search and filter skills to get to what you're looking for. Just notice a different button here, configure the item. What that means is we're going to ask you 3 questions you know. Okay, what type of service you're looking for? There's multiple here under a contract, so we're going to ask you which one of those services you need. This is going to start to help us set up in the system. Multiple invoices are one. Okay. Notice we bumped up the price there. If you're going to have this person or supplier come in the one time, we're going to bump up that price. And just like any service, if you increase the scope, you increase the cost. So in this case, where we increase the square footage of what we're cleaning, we get a different price there. But again, 3 things this person knows. We now have the green light to add it to a cart. And the 3 things that I need now, 2 products and a service, 3 different suppliers. This is what I need, but we're going to ask you to move it to a request because this is where we understand the rules the company wants to follow. Okay, you're going to want to run through approval processes based on categories, based on pricing. Okay, so we're going to run this through Alex. Okay, we're going to categorize the spend so you can track it. That's why spend is so important to be visible. Okay, we can control it, we can look at it, we can do some things strategically about that. And last but not least, behind the scenes, we're going to hit some accounting objects for you, right? You want to track the cost centers and GLs, and we know in this case we've done that because we're hitting some budgets. Okay, so all those things have been done for that user. They're probably more interested in just checking the quantities, the address, and moving that to the next step. But what you have there in the hands of our financial reviewer or reviewers, if that's the case, a purchase request 3478, all compliant to my approved, preferred, and contracted suppliers. Okay, all the pricing we expect, all the pricing that we have agreed to beforehand, now in a purchase request. Okay. With that, let me go over to our next step, and this is going to be the approver now. Remember I said I want to make this quick and easy for that approval process. So what we're going to do there is send them an email with the information needed to make an approve or reject decision. So we'll just take a second to get that email over here.
And while you're waiting, Mike, just so you know, you have a little under 8 minutes left.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I'll try not to talk fast, but we'll. In that case, what I'll do, I'll spare you the email. I don't want to wait for an email to show up. Usually it's pretty quick, but I might have caught it and some bad timing. So we'll have this person log in, which is no problem. Now notice everything I'm doing can be done on a mobile device. So wherever this person is, even with the email or logging in just the way I'm doing here, all available on a phone, iPad, laptop, whatever device is in front of them. So they can make the quick decision. Here's 3478. In this case, when they're in system, they could edit that purchase request if need be, but in this case, I'm just going to approve to get to this pretty quickly. So again, a quick decision there by that approver. What that means for us over here for the employee who just sent a purchase request in a matter of less than a couple minutes, what we have are 3 purchase orders, auto PO, meaning no buyer intervention, and now in the hands of the supplier in the format that they can receive it. Okay, we still have suppliers that take email. We can convert that, but like I said in my preamble, we're looking for more connected options. So CXML EDI would love to get the data to that supplier so they can work with it. Again, keeping the hands off the keyboard. So having said that, let's look at purchase order 2878. Okay, this is a supplier who has a system of their own or uses the portal here, as I mentioned before. They're going in and they're going to get that purchase order in electronic format. So what that means for us here, right away, I have a chance to tell you as soon as it comes up here, I have a chance to tell you if there's an issue. Okay, there it is, just came in a few seconds ago. That's how that's how fast digital works for us. But I'm at my customer is asking for 10 of these things by next week. Okay, this is a problem, we can dispute that. Let them know that there's going to be an issue and make changes. That's communication back to that employee. And the employee could say, well, I really need those 10 next week. Okay, I'll have to cancel it and try with somebody else. Or the other situation is, okay, fine, I could do 10 a week later, or I could do 5 next week. In that event, what we would do is a PO change process, and we'd come back to here with a new version of the purchase order where we can all agree. Okay, so that's important. Services too. If you need somebody to come in next Tuesday and they can't come in, that's important information to know. Okay. Suppliers, I'll spare this document exchange, but a supplier can also send a shipping notification. Again, that's just all helpful documents for this user right here, who's our employee, who needs their stuff and needs it timely. They can track that. They can track when things are ordered, confirmed, shipped. They can use the shipping notifications for things that are really important to them, know that they're coming in on time. Okay, so this avoids all those phone calls into procurement. Hey, when's my order coming in? Do you know anything about that? Well, they can look that at their own because I have the complete status at their fingertips. Okay, let's fast forward. Let's say those items came in. So that's MSC Direct right here. We're gonna make it super easy for whoever has to do that goods receipt to make that receipt happen in the system. Again, we just need to indicate for the purpose of the invoice that we actually got the 10 items, widgets, whatever it is. So we know that we're going to pay for exactly what we got. So this is a confirmation to the system saying we got our stuff, okay? Because we know a supplier is going to invoice us. So let's go to that supplier, okay? Let me refresh the screen, okay? That supplier says, I want my money for the 10 items there. So what we're gonna do is help them out. We're gonna take all that data from the purchase order and we're gonna flip that over to an invoice for them. We just didn't know the invoice number, so they'll have to tell us that, when they wanna start the clock. But things like payment terms, we already know, we've agreed to this already. All that information from the purchase order moves over. So we're gonna allow that supplier to quickly create an electronic invoice into the AP department, okay? Further, just before I go back to the AP and exit the supplier, I want to show you over here at the dashboard, because 2 of the most famous questions by this supplier, did you get my invoice and when am I going to get paid? Okay, so 2 questions answered right here. So if the supplier does call you up, you tell them to log in, and because they're looking at the same information you are, you could tell them, you'll know when I know when you're going to get paid. So you can reduce those phone calls, which actually amount to about 25% of AP's time. So that's a great time reduction if we can get suppliers to get that information on their own. All right, last but not least, our accounts payable department received an electronic invoice. And if you know what I just did, an order for 10, a goods receipt for 10, an invoice for 10. So we're in that great situation where AP doesn't have to do a thing. Touchless processing, straight through processing, also called. That invoice lands here in a posting status. There's our 2878 purchase order, invoice number here. For the 10 items, right? It's in this posting status because it's already done our 3-way match. It's been approved, all compliant. It's gone through our processes. So it's in this posting status waiting for a connection to a payment system to be paid. Okay, so that's quick and easy for that accounts payable department. Okay. Now, great things happen when it's digital like that, but we know for a fact that suppliers are still going to send you invoices looking something like this. And I'll go straight to a non-PO invoice example. Looking like this means a PDF attachment to an email, most likely. What the issue here is it's not data yet. Okay, so what we have is Vroozi Intelligence, which is artificial intelligence on our platform, which is going to read the document. Now, I emphasize read on purpose because it's looking for keywords. It's reading the page, so we don't have to train a template. I know Amanda and Shaz were just talking about that. Okay, there's systems out there you have to train where the data elements are. Our system's going to look at this document and read the words. So our running joke is it knows how to spell PO. So when we take that to the next level there, you're going to see where our system has placed the data into the fields that we need. Okay, and it's going to color code it based on confidence. There you see where it got the data. So number one, it gives me some data that I need. In this case, because it's a non-PO invoice, it's also reading the items on the invoice. So you have 10 items on an invoice. We'd love to give you 10 items so you know what 10 items you're spending on, right? So many systems will roll that up, say, here's the total amount. If it looks good, then you approve it. We want to show you exactly what you're spending your money on, okay? And last but not least, for non-PO invoices, because we don't have the accounting, we're going to look at your history and we're going to show you based on history what we think the accounting should be with confidence intervals. So what we've done for you is we placed the data, we've coded it, we've given you all the line items, we've set you up nicely just to go and prove this and send that to the next level. Okay, so we get Alex to approve that, submit that, and I'm on to the next invoice. Okay, so that's a good look at Vroozi. Again, a first through process was straight through. We had digital working for us. Everybody's connected digitally. That was our COIN acronym there. When we do get COIN in play, great things happen. We get that straight through process. When things are not digital and connected as they should be, like when you hand us the paper and PDF, we get that to digital very quickly using artificial intelligence, and hopefully reduce some of the clicks that need to be done in any kind of manual entry. We definitely want to reduce to 0 to make sure that people aren't putting in those.
All right.
So
time's up. Time's up, Mike. You like nailed that on the head. It
fantastic.
My timer just went off. So great job on the demo today. I really appreciate not only your time, but Shaz's time to go through the value proposition of Vroozi and to get a quick peek at the solution itself. So now it's my turn to do 3 likes and 3 not so likes yet. So with that said, you can go ahead and drop off. I truly appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Amanda, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. All right, everyone. So that was a very quick look at Vroozi. We're so intrigued by their solution. And I will say 3 things that I absolutely love about their solution is, first off, their catalog capability. Their ability to get items into a catalog goes well beyond your capability. So often it's on your shoulders to build out all that content, but Vroozi has built it out for you, including services, which is a huge differentiator in the marketplace. So often services are on a blanket purchase order or a penny purchase order, as people call it, where they switch the quantity with the price. So very strong catalog capability that you would get from Vroozi. My second item is rapid deployment. We hear from their customers themselves, which is something that I think truly speaks to their ability to get a system up and running like this very, very quickly. So while you'll still have decisions to make and some change management to go through, you can get the system up and running much faster than the competitors in the marketplace. And the third item is the last thing that Mike touched on, which is the AI invoice capture capability. There are some other solutions out there that can do it, but I think that from a change management perspective, if you don't get all of your suppliers through the portal and do the PO flip and all of that, that's okay, because you have the emails coming in with PDFs that are going to be translated into an electronic format. So it takes away a lot of that really painful supplier enablement that happens on these solutions. All right, now 3 things that I don't quite like yet. Okay, so that doesn't mean that they're not going to get there eventually, but this 3 things that I'm thinking that they can improve upon. First of all, this is a very, very, very crowded market in the procure to pay space. They have a lot of competition that they're working against, which can make them better in the long run, because competition makes everyone better. But it's just a really crowded space. So if you are looking at a procure to pay solution, Vroozi should be on your radar. However, there's a lot of other people to look at too. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. It's just a super crowded market. Not Vroozi's fault. It's just how it is, and things that I think are going to shake out in the marketplace. The one thing that I'm not seeing on their solution is buying channel guidance. They had a lot of search capability that's pretty intuitive. It wouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how to work through the search capability. But where we see a lot of people that are really trying to manage their buying channels and direct people to exactly where they want to go. So some simple screen up front to say, what are you trying to do today? Because often people will go into these tools and they're looking for something that actually should be sourced. Yet they're in the transactional processing piece. So some sort of guidance up front on directing people where to go, I think would be beneficial for this solution. The third thing is, and this is what you're going to hear a lot from me, is go to where the people are. So with technology capability out there today, one thing that you could be considering is where are people doing their work today? Are they in Teams? Are they in Slack? Are they somewhere else? And can we have the entry point into Vroozi be where they're located? Just so you know, I've shared all of this feedback with Vroozi before in our many various conversations, but I do want to highlight what I truly think differentiates Vroozi and where I think there might be a little bit of improvement areas that we can continue to push forward and make sure that we have that capability. So if you want to learn more about Vroozi and any other procurement tech, we're going to put a link right down here to our website where you can get help from us around learning more about Vroozi, learning more about a procure to pay solution in general, or if you just don't even know where to start and you would love our guidance, we're also here to help you out with that. So with that said, thank you so much for joining us today. If you like this video, again, please hit like, hit subscribe so you don't miss a moment, and any other upcoming videos on ProcureTech Wonders. With that said, I'm signing off and I will see you next time.